California casinos that sit on Native American lands are not bound by Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom's rephased reopening plan, so they are beginning to open their doors again with a lot of interest despite safety protocols in place.
Time has come now when we know that we can help maintain and manage that priority, and we're ready to welcome our guests back. We'll see some of the devices disabled. We'll see seats removed, for example, from table games. You'll see seats removed from our restaurants.
And that rebellious spirit is being embraced by religious leaders in California. Breaking tonight, the state is in possession of a letter from the Justice Department that says it cannot omit churches from reopening plans, warning, quote, the Constitution calls for California to do more to accommodate religious worship. So plenty to unpack there tonight with the president of the Family Research Council, Tony Perkins. Good evening to you, sir.
Mike, good to be with you.
So the Justice Department's pushing California Governor Newsom to make sure he doesn't leave churches out in his reopening plans. Here's Governor Newsom on this issue.
As it relates to congregants coming back into the pews, we're a few weeks away, but we are working overtime with leaders in the community to come up with those guidelines and restore that capacity in, we hope, the very, very near future.
In your view, is it time to reopen our houses of worship?
I think it is based upon the appropriate guidelines and protocols. I think when the DOJ looked at Governor Newsom's reopen plan, it was indefinite when it came to churches. I think they made it very clear that his reopen plan was one hymn book short of rhyme or reason, because it treated churches in a disfavorable status, and they're saying that's not going to happen. And they put him on notice. And I would not be surprised at all to see the Department of Justice take action in California if the governor continues to hold fast on the church's reopening.
Minnesota's Catholic Church and a conservative Lutheran denomination say they'll resume worship services next week in defiance of Governor Tim Walz's executive order limiting religious services to 10 people. Here's the argument from the Chicago Baptist Institute.
If you're going to have the big box stores open, again, if you're going to have the liquor stores open, all right? If you're going to have all the other things that are open, why should church be excluded?
Shopping, drinking, what about worshiping?
Well, you see, when you have unequal treatment of churches, where you have stores that are open and able to fill their establishments to 50% of their capacity, and you have churches that can only have 10 people in them, it clearly is disfavoring churches. And it's interesting, Mike, that of the 16 states that still have these lockdowns or stay-at-home orders, many of them restricting churches, all but one of them are Democratic states. It is the Democratic leaders that have this whether it's blatant or latent, it is animus toward religion, and it's being exposed by the coronavirus. But I hosted a virtual town hall roundtable meeting with about 1,500 pastors this morning, along with several cabinet members, including the Attorney General of the United States and the President. And the President himself made very clear he is making it a priority to open the churches of America again, according to proper guidance and safety regulations. And I would not be surprised at all to see in the next few days some guidelines for churches reopening for all across America, putting pressure on these Democratic governors to open up the churches and let them meet.
Interesting. The Wall Street Journal editorial board writes, it's hard to see how, under any reading of the First Amendment, the Mall of America can be allowed to reopen while churches must keep their doors closed to all but a handful. So how do we socially distance in our houses of worship?
Well, there's actually some very good protocols. We've put some in place ourselves, or we've developed these best practices. People can see them at our website, frc.org/churches. And you have family units together. You have 6 feet apart. You also can base percentages upon the capacity of the building, and it's in phases. Look, no pastor wants to rush back in and pick up where we left off the 1st of March. They want their congregations to be safe and healthy. They want their communities to be safe and healthy. Look, it's a process, but that process needs to start. The problem, Mike, is you have governors like Newsom that won't even tell churches when he thinks they'll be able to meet. And the problem with that, and I had a conversation with the CDC director about this today, the problem is in the absence of guidance, the churches are going to meet. Look, Moses was only kept by God up on the mountain for 40 days. It's been a lot longer than 40 days, and people are ready to come down and go to church, and the government better get in line at the state level and work with churches and not against them.
Millions of Americans have not been to their doctors in recent months due to strict stay-at-home advisories. One side result is now teleabortion, giving women a prescription to abort a fetus by pill. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, this is a chemical coat hanger. These are said to be safe, easy, it'll happen in a day or two, and the reality is it's painful, it's dangerous. Some of these chemical abortions, depending upon the point of the pregnancy and the development, it could go up to 30 days. This is dangerous, and it needs to be watched. It's driven primarily by profit. That's why the abortion industry is pushing that. It's all profit for them.
Tony Perkins, thanks so much for your time.
Mike, good to be with you.